Today I'm here to compare Diablo Immortal to Path of Exile 2, a comparison that really no one is going to make but me. Now I know the comments are going to be an absolute disaster inside of this video, but that's okay. I'm already mentally prepared. I'm going to be sharing my experience inside of Path of Exile 2 with you and comparing to that my experience inside of Diablo Immortal and bring together some ideas and thoughts that I have regarding both of the games, where some are strong while others are weak and vice versa. We're basically just going to talk about it. Now, if you want a 15-second breakdown to know which one you should play, it's as simple as this. If you're looking for a more casual, more accessible game that's an action RPG, go with Diablo Immortal. If you're looking for something that has a brain-melting experience that you need to study for like you're studying for the SATs before you even play the game, yeah, Path of Exile 2 is for you. Now let's get into the comparison of Diablo Immortal versus Path of Exile 2. I think we should start out with the monetization inside of the games. First of all, as of right now, Path of Exile 2, you have to pay to get the game. I think at some point in time it's going to be free for all players, but as of right now, it is not. Diablo Immortal, absolutely free for all players. But Diablo Immortal has some of the most pay-to-win mechanics inside of gaming that I have ever seen. Now, of course, you can choose to be 100% free to play and enjoy almost all areas of the game. At extensive amounts. I know tons of free-to-play players that absolutely love Diablo Immortal. But if you want to be the best on the leaderboards or to be able to be one of the best in PvP, you're gonna need to pay, and you're gonna need to pay a lot. Now, Path of Exile, you have your $30 to get the game, and then there are some microtransactions within the game, but nothing that's gonna have you paying for power. So if you want something that's absolutely free to play right now, that's Diablo Immortal, while you need to spend a few dollars to get into Path of Exile 2. But over time, I think that will change and they'll both be free to download and to play, with options to spend. Now, there are a lot of differences between both of these games, but one of the biggest ones to me is complexity. For me as a gamer, I don't want to have to study to play a game. I want to be able to dive into the game, learn through my gameplay experience how to play the game, and then just get better as time goes on. When I dove into Path of Exile 2, I watched a couple of tutorials before the game. I tried to learn a little bit, probably an hour's worth of content to be prepared for an experience that I knew was probably going to be a bit overwhelming. I quickly learned that 1 hour of learning, studying, educating myself was not even near enough, because I dove into the game and I found things just not intuitive. It wasn't something I was like, okay, I'm familiar with this genre since I've been playing action RPGs for years, that this should happen here and that should happen there. The complexity to me seems a little bit extreme. Kind of like grinding your games is trying to make it more difficult to try and make all of the real hardcore action RPG players happy. And if that's what you are, Path of Exile 2 is for you. It is made for hardcore action RPG players, like the people that liked Path of Exile 1 or Diablo 2. Yeah, that's what this game is for. But for me, I'm more of a casual gamer. Across all of my YouTube channels, my experiences are casual ones. I learn the game as I go, I have a good time playing the game, and I find all of the great features that games have to offer. I feel that Diablo Immortal is much easier and more friendly to pick up, play, and enjoy from day one, rather than scratching your head wondering, what the hell do I do next? Let's talk about the game controls. Now, obviously, they're two very different games. Path of Exile is on PC, but you have the point and click to move method, you have the WASD method, and you have the controller method. First things first, point to click just doesn't work for me. I don't like it. It always gets interrupted with my primary attack. I don't love it. The WASD movement was quite a bit better, but I preferred to use the controller method if it worked properly, but it was extremely wonky and it definitely seemed like a beta version of controls utilizing a controller versus the other two methods that were available, which weren't the ones that I prefer. Now, for all fairness, I feel like this often in many different action RPGs when I play on PC, that I would rather use a controller. I know hardcore people are gonna say mouse and keyboard the way to go, but I'm not a hardcore player. I want to be able to kick back, live stream, have the controller in my hand, not feel cramped up in my hands, and just enjoy the experience. And the controller lends itself better to that. But the controller experience does need quite a bit of work, in my opinion, on Path of Exile 2. I'm confident that it will get there in time. And you're probably saying, well, how are you even comparing the two? Because Diablo Immortal is a mobile game. First of all, before we dive any deeper into that, I actually prefer playing Diablo Immortal on mobile than I do on PC because yes, Diablo Immortal does have a PC client. It's actually what I play every day whenever I'm recording my videos. And Diablo Immortal also has the point and click to move option, and it has a controller option, which I feel is just a little bit cleaner than what was offered in Path of Exile 2. So for me, the controls win in Diablo Immortal. You have mobile, you have controls, and you have mouse and keyboard. You could choose between the three, everything cross syncs, and it works out pretty nicely. You didn't know that Diablo Immortal was also on PC? Yeah, you could download it from their client, and there you literally have a PC game. And it's not just like a port. It's made pretty great, and I really do enjoy that feature of the game. And that alone is another perk of Diablo Immortal. Remember years ago after Diablo Immortal was announced and it got all of the negative press, everyone hated it, they booed the screen.
Gentlemen, I have subjected myself to torment, to hell, to punishment, to nightmares, to evil.
Shortly after, Path of Exile announced that they'd be bringing a Path of Exile mobile. They did it in a much more fun way, like it was some shitty mobile game, and it actually was not hated on by the community. Problem is, and I would love to try that game, it never came. And I hear no signs, I see no writing on the wall that that is actually going to come. So there's no mobile competitor Path of Exile versus Diablo, because only Diablo has the mobile opportunity to play. So really there, when you're talking about accessibility, Diablo Immortal is gonna win all day. Think of it like this. I'm an adult. I have a job. It just happens to be doing YouTube and staying home all day, so I guess I could play video games all day, but most of you can't. You're at an office, you're teaching in a school, you're out there doing some blue collar work, doing construction. You can't play your video games during that time. But if you have a mobile game, like a Diablo Immortal or any other mobile game, you could play them on the side at work, you could pick them up on your lunch break and do some events inside of the game. It's much more accessible, which is why I actually prefer mobile games, because it's for the accessibility reasons. I'm not someone, even though I do YouTube as a job for a living, I also have responsibilities at home, I have children, I have a wife, and I don't get to sit and no life all day to play my video games all day long. So I try and get those game sessions in whenever I can, late at night, breaks throughout the day while watching TV, and that is where mobile really lends itself well. I know that a lot of you that like action RPGs may say action RPGs are only meant to be on PC. And I understand that. That is the hardcore player feeling and thought on gaming in general, often. But a lot of you out there are in a very similar boat to me. You're a dad, you're a grown adult, you have to go to work, you have to do responsibilities in life, but you don't want to give up gaming, so you have other options. And the best action RPG option on mobile is Diablo Immortal, hands down. Now, you probably are getting the feeling that this is snowballing towards a video where I'm saying Diablo Immortal is better. You would be right. I actually do prefer Diablo Immortal to Path of Exile. My experience in Path of Exile felt like I was not prepared for the final exam, and then I went into the final exam and flunked and felt bad about it. The problem is I put probably, a handful of hours, 2 live streams worth into the game. And although I did learn and progress as I went, I didn't feel myself saying, I want to dive in deeper and I want to learn more and I want to do more. I found myself saying, I don't really know that I want to play this anymore, so maybe we should go back to Diablo Immortal. The skill tree inside of Path of Exile, it scared me before I even played Path of Exile. I look at that thing and it looks like a freaking atlas on my entire wall. And yes, I know it's not as complex as it looks, but grinding gear games didn't do anything to make it feel more welcoming to all players. No part of Path of Exile 2 is said to be there for someone that's not trying to be intimidated by the genre. If you're someone that's your first step into action RPGs, Path of Exile 2 is either going to be something that you fall in love with or that scares you away from the genre. The skill gems were weird too. It was just not natural for me to work with the skill gems, start activating skills, and to be... I know if I put more time into it, maybe another 10 to 20 hours into it, maybe I would then have understood the system fully and said to myself, okay, I get it now, and this is how it works. And if I talk to any of my friends who play Path of Exile 2, they would say exactly that. You got to give it the time, and then you'll learn it, and then you'll love it, because the possibilities are endless. And this is a point that's actually in favor of Path of Exile 2. There are no meta builds. You can build anything you want. If I want, and as my friend would say, a lightning whirlwind barbarian, I can create a lightning whirlwind barbarian. If I want a monk with X abilities to do this and that, I could create that. There are no builds that are meta in the game. While Diablo Immortal, you could change between many classes, which is another great feature of the game. There's 9 classes, you could switch between any ones every single day, but there's definitely meta builds for each of them. If you're not utilizing this PvP build for this class, you're not gonna win in PvP. If you're not using this dungeon build, you're not gonna drop the most damage in the dungeons. Not to mention, if you didn't spend tens of thousands of dollars, there's always gonna be someone that is doing more damage and getting more kills than you, by a lot. So in favor of Path of Exile, the ability to be creative is there. Not saying you can't make builds in Diablo Immortal and be creative with those builds. It's actually a much easier system to maneuver, but you're not going to be able to build things that are just relevant everywhere the way that you can in Path of Exile. So for the creative minds that love to study before playing games, that really want their own builds and to create something brand new, Path of Exile 2, that's your game. You could spend your 50 to 100 hours learning and building that out, and then you could say, I have the best build for the barbarian that does this, this, and this, and everyone's going to think it's awesome. And if you think that's fun, that's something that you should do. For me, I don't want to invest that time. I'd rather just jump into the meta build and play the game and have fun. Now again, maybe I'm in the minority there. I'm not sure. I'm not here to say that the way that you want to play the game or the game that you prefer to play is right or wrong. There are going to be people on both sides of this fence. I'm fully aware of it. Now, I did mention not being first in PvP in Diablo Immortal. Yeah, Diablo Immortal has PvP. The only action RPG, really, that has PvP. Path of Exile doesn't, Diablo doesn't, but Diablo Immortal does. And this is something that makes it very unique. Now, unfortunately, the majority of the PvP mechanic inside of the game is heavily held behind a paywall with normal gems and with legendary gems. I know plenty of people who have spent over $100,000 on their account, and if they don't keep spending, they get left in the dust. So my advice to anyone that does play Diablo Immortal is, if you spend, prepare to spend a lot if you're trying to be one of the best. If you're not preparing to spend a lot, why spend it all? Because each time you spend, you're gonna be bumped up to another tier of people that are ready to beat you because they're ready to spend more. So the pay to win mechanic, Diablo Immortal loses terribly. They are burning on the ground in flames. It's dust, it's ashes floating into the sky. Path of Exile is in the heavens with a very smiling person or aura saying, our game is better than yours in that sense, because hell yeah, it is. Diablo Immortal is a game I've been covering here on the channel for 5 years and one I absolutely love, but it is one of the worst pay-to-win games I've ever seen. You have no shot, no way in hell you can ever be better than other players if you don't spend more than those players. I don't like that mechanic. It's what it is. It's hard to find an action RPG, on mobile at least, that doesn't have that mechanic, but at least it's not forcing you into it. Now, maybe it's trying to manipulate you into those purchases, but you completely don't have to. You can be 100% free to play and enjoy all the PvE that the game has to offer, and even some PvP. There'll be a ceiling though where you start to lose a lot to people that are a lot better than you or that spend more than you, and that can get annoying, but at least you don't have to spend, but it's encouraged. And one of the things that I really love about Diablo Immortal, that I like better than like a Diablo 4 or Path of Exile, is seasons. Diablo Immortal doesn't have them. You grind your character, you're continuously growing that character, and there's no reset. And I've been fully invested in my character now for 3.5 years without having to start a new one or reset this. Everything grows on itself, and you start to make a character that you really identify with. Now, of course, you can reset, switch to another class, do different builds, sure, but the grind is steady on that account. There's no season reset where you then are starting a new one. I personally like that. Even when Diablo Immortal first announced that there were not going to be seasons inside of the game, before it launched, when I was playing the alphas, I was so excited and so happy to hear that news. Now, I know a lot of players, gamers in general, hate losing progression, and seasons do exactly that. They make you lose progression to start over with new mechanics, new builds, new characters, new things to do. I personally don't want to start over again in any game on a regular recurring sequence. And I think that a lot of people that play the more casual games don't want to have to start over, because a lot of times they maybe are playing casually. Maybe someone only gets 20 minutes a day to play a game. Why after 2 months would they want to have to restart that progress, something that they're only putting minimal amounts of time into in the first place? So for me, even though I play 2, 3, 4 hours of Diablo Immortal a day, I don't want to have a season reset. It's not in the game, and for me, that's something that I prefer. It's another reason why I prefer Diablo Immortal over Path of Exile 2, even over Diablo 4 for that reason. I wanted to make this video because even though my channel focuses on Diablo Immortal, I know that a lot of my audience really wants to know and genuinely cares what my thoughts are on other games that pop up, whether they're on PC or whether they're on mobile. And I try my best to give you guys my impressions and thoughts on games that I try, specifically in the MMORPG or the action RPG genre. This is an example of that. Do I think a lot of people that play Diablo Immortal exclusively would want to drop Diablo Immortal to play Path of Exile 2? I don't. Because a lot of people who do play Diablo Immortal are those that are like me, that need that ease of entry, not only to play, but to play on a regular basis. They need that accessibility. And Diablo Immortal just wins hands down on that front. If we're talking graphics, let's talk about the little things, right? I think Diablo Immortal has great graphics. I think Path of Exile 2's graphics are okay. And I'm running it in a sweet rig right here, and I thought it was okay. For a 2026 game, I could have expected more. But I know it's not all about the visuals. It does look very good. But a mobile game, Diablo Immortal, when I play it on PC, I honestly think it looks better. But art and graphics are subjective. So if you've made it to this point in the video and you didn't stop in my first 30 seconds when I gave you my quick 15-second breakdown on which one you should play, well, first of all, thank you for watching through the video. I put a lot of thought, effort, and time into doing this, trying out both games and all of that, so you sticking around, I appreciate, and if you enjoyed it, please subscribe. I actually have a few more games I plan to compare to Path of Exile 2 and Diablo Immortal very, very soon on the channel, so if you're subscribed, well, you won't miss those. If you don't subscribe, well, then you miss out. So if you didn't already know, my choice in this case would be Diablo Immortal. I do think that I'm in the minority. I do think there's a lot of people who are gonna say, how could you want to play a game with such a terrible pay-to-win mechanic? My answer would be, because it's a mechanic you can avoid if you want to. You can be a low spender inside of the game. You could be a free-to-play player, or you can be a Kraken and pay more than many people play in their mortgages on a monthly basis to play the game. Actually, that doesn't even tell you how much money people spend in this game. All this said, I've been creating content on YouTube for 10 years, and it's all been primarily focused on mobile games, all which have some type of a microtransaction. And I know there's microtransactions in Path of Exile 2 as well, but it's not for power. It's not going to make you a better player than someone else. It's going to bring you conveniences and really charming looks, where other mobile games such as Diablo Immortal, that's not how it works. But because I'm used to the mechanic and I've been around it for 10 years of content creation and YouTube and all of that, I'm probably more aware, I'm desensitized to the mechanic. I'd be curious to see from all of you in the comments, how many of you prefer Path of Exile 2 versus how many of you prefer Diablo Immortal, with your reasons behind it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, got something out of it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.